Okay, close your eyes for a second and imagine this. The air is crisp, maybe a little misty. You hear the gentle lapping of water against centuries-old brickwork, the distant chime of a church bell.
And the swish of bicycle tires gliding past.
Exactly. You're standing on ground that, well, in many places, wouldn't even exist if not for incredible human effort. Windmills dot the horizon, canals crisscross the landscape like veins, and somewhere, maybe, vibrant fields of flowers stretch out.
That's a pretty good picture, that feeling. That's the unique pull of the Netherlands.
And you, our listener, have brought us a fantastic collection of sources, articles, guides, notes, all about planning a trip to this, well, fascinating corner of the world.
Yeah, a really useful set of materials.
So for this deep dive, we're stepping beyond the usual postcards. Our mission is to really unpack what makes the Netherlands tick.
Understand its rhythm, decode how to navigate its blend of historic charm and modern innovation.
And figure out the practicalities like costs and getting around, and ultimately help you plan an efficiently planned, genuinely memorable experience.
We're pulling out the most valuable insights from your material, kind of giving you a shortcut to being well-informed, ready to explore.
So let's kick things off by asking, what is it about the Netherlands that truly sets it apart?
Well, what's fascinating here, I think, is how much of the country's identity is tied to its constant dialogue with water.
Right.
I mean, we're talking about a nation where a significant chunk of the land is actually below sea level. Think about the sheer human ingenuity
It's incredible.
involved in creating and maintaining this space through dikes, canals, and those iconic windmills. They weren't just scenic, they were vital tools for pumping water.
That fundamental struggle and mastery over water has really sculpted the landscape, hasn't it? It's so flat, fertile.
And uniquely suited for certain ways of life.
Which brings us naturally to one of the most defining aspects, doesn't it? Cycling.
Absolutely. It's not just a hobby or, something you do on vacation. Cycling is woven into the fabric of Dutch daily life.
You see everyone doing it.
Kids go to school on bikes, people commute, grandparents cycle to the market. It's possible because of that flat terrain, sure, but also because of an unbelievable infrastructure. One of your sources mentioned, over 35,000 kilometers of dedicated bike paths?
35,000, that's staggering.
It is, and it's a conscious choice, reflecting a deep commitment to sustainability and practicality that you see throughout the urban planning.
But while the countryside offers those glimpses of the water-managed landscape and cycling freedom, the cities are where the vibrant culture often comes alive, and there's so much more beyond just Amsterdam.
Oh, indeed. While Amsterdam is undeniably iconic, the canals, gabled houses, world-class museums, that well-known liberal vibe, exploring further reveals how diverse the Netherlands really is.
Like Rotterdam.
Exactly. Rotterdam is such a striking contrast. It's incredibly modern, a hub of innovation, home to one of the world's largest ports, largely rebuilt after the war.
And then you have places like Utrecht and Haarlem.
Yeah, charming historic cities, beautiful medieval centers, but maybe with a slightly less frenetic pace than Amsterdam.
Mm-hmm.
And The Hague, well, that's where the government sits, international justice.
Yeah.
It gives it a different, more formal, but still cosmopolitan feel.
So each city really does have its own distinct personality.
Definitely. And threading through all these cities and the national identity itself is that incredible artistic legacy.
You can't really avoid the masters, can you?
No way. Rembrandt, Vermeer, Van Gogh. The museums holding their works, like the Rijksmuseum or the Van Gogh Museum, aren't just art galleries. They are custodians of national history and identity, reflecting the Dutch Golden Age.
They really are must-visits for understanding the country's soul.
Totally agree.
Okay, so we have this picture. A nation shaped by water, powered by bikes, rich in history and art across diverse cities. Now, how do you translate that into actual experiences on a trip? Starting with Amsterdam, what are the essentials your sources highlight?
Right, Amsterdam. Well, getting on the water is almost mandatory. A canal cruise is the classic way to see the architecture from a unique angle.
And there are different kinds, right? Pizza cruises, wine, and cheese.
Loads of options. But here's a smart tip from one source. For groups, renting your own small boat can actually be more economical, starting around 50 EUR.
Oh, that's a great tip, like being your own captain for the afternoon.
Exactly. Gives you flexibility and a more personal perspective. And the museums, as you said, are central.
Absolutely essential. The Rijksmuseum, the Van Gogh Museum.
Yeah, the Van Gogh Museum, one source said, has over 500 of his works and really tells the story of his life alongside his contemporaries. Entry's about 20 EUR, and the critical piece of advice: You must book tickets online in advance.
They sell out that fast.
They really do.
Uh-huh.
And the Anne Frank House, incredibly moving, poignant history, but demand is huge. Book that one way, way ahead of time.
Okay, good heads up.
And here's a real game changer if you plan on visiting multiple museums across the country. The museum cart.
Use the museum pass.
75 EUR. Non-residents get access to 400 museums for a month. If you hit even a few major ones, it pays for itself pretty quickly.
That sounds like a no-brainer for museum lovers. And beyond the big sites.
Just wandering through neighborhoods like the Jordan District gives you a real feel for local life. It's charming, used to be working class, now more bohemian. And yes, cycling in Amsterdam is possible. It's authentic.
But
Be warned. It's chaotic. You need to be confident and constantly aware. Bikes, trams, cars, pedestrians, everyone's sharing the space. It's intense.
okay, noted. Stepping outside Amsterdam, though, is where you really see the different facets of the country your sources talk about.
Exactly. If you're visiting in spring, say mid-March to May, the tulips are the undeniable highlight. Keukenhof Gardens is the most famous spot.
The world's largest flower garden, apparently.
That's what they say. Over 7 million bulbs, 800 types of tulips, 79 acres, admissions about 19 EUR. But maybe a less crowded, even more authentic experience is just cycling through the fields themselves,
Whereabouts?
particularly around Keukenhof or the Leiden area. That's often at its peak in May.
And those iconic windmills. Can't forget those.
Kinderdijk. That's the quintessential place, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, 19 authentic windmills in a polder landscape.
Yeah.
It's stunningly picturesque.
And good for cycling, too, I bet.
Fantastic for cycling. Then you have those other cities we touched on. Utrecht with its unique wharf cellars along the canals, now full of cafes and shops.
Right, the Wharfkelders.
Exactly. And The Hague, home to the Mauritius, girl with the pearl earring. And it also gives you beach access. Rotterdam, showcasing that cutting-edge modern architecture like the cube houses.
And your sources also mention places like Delft and Edam.
Yeah, Delft, famous for its blue and white pottery and historic center. Edam, that perfect little cheese town north of Amsterdam, picture perfect.
What about nature, beyond the canals and fields?
For wider landscapes, your sources mention Hoge Veluwe National Park.
That's the big one, right?
The country's largest nature reserve, yeah. 55 square kilometers, sand dunes, woodlands, wildlife like deer and boar. Cycling is highly recommended. Rentals are only about 5 EUR inside the park.
And it has a museum inside it.
Uniquely, yes. The Kröller-Müller Museum, right there in the wilderness. Loads Van Gogh, Picasso, Rodin. Park admission gets you in. Around 12.3 EUR.
Interesting combo.
Or for a completely different vibe, there's Gethorn, the Venice of the North.
No roads, just canals.
Pretty much. In the center, you navigate it by boat. It's wonderfully slow-paced, very picturesque.
And for history buffs.
The Netherlands Open Air Museum near Arnhem sounds fascinating. It's huge, 100 acres, an immersive way to see how people lived from the Middle Ages right up to the present. Historic buildings, traditional crafts.
Sounds cool. Admission's about 19.5 EUR.
Around that, yeah. And if you're looking for something just fun, Efteling is one of the oldest and largest theme parks, focusing on fairy tales and fantasy, open year-round.
Okay, and beyond specific sites, there are cultural experiences too, like cheese markets.
Definitely. The traditional cheese markets, Alkmaar, Gouda, Edam, have demonstrations, tastings. Great atmosphere. And if your timing is right, King's Day, April 27th.
Ah, the big party.
It's described as one of the wildest national holidays anywhere. King Willem Alexander's birthday. Everyone wears orange, street parties everywhere, canal celebrations.
Sounds like pure energy, a unique experience if you happen to be there.
Absolutely.
Okay, planning a trip also means planning for sustenance. Let's talk food. What are the must-try culinary delights we need to seek out?
Ah, the food. Okay, first, stroopwafels. But forget the packaged ones you get back home.
Gotta be fresh.
Find a market stall where they're making them fresh and warm. 2 thin waffles, caramel syrup inside. Oh, it's pure delight. Then there's the adventurous option, herring.
Raw herring.
Raw herring, yeah. Often served with chopped onions and pickles. It sounds intimidating to some, maybe, but it's a quintessential street food experience, especially fresh in spring and early summer. Don't knock it till you try it.
Okay, I'm intrigued. And the fries. Dutch fries are legendary, right?
Patat, or frites. Thick cut, quite fried perfection. But the real game is the sauces.
Right, not just ketchup.
Forget just ketchup. They have frittesses, which is like mayo but lighter, tangier. But you need to explore. Joppy sauce is popular, and the legendary patache oorlog.
War fries.
Yeah, war fries. Piles on multiple sauces, often peanut sauce, mayo, and onions. It's an experience in a cone.
War fries. Sounds like something you need courage for. What about other savory snacks?
Bitterballen are everywhere. Crispy, deep-fried balls, usually meat-based ragu inside, served with mustard, perfect with a beer.
Like little wheat balls.
Sort of, yeah. Croquetten are similar, but elongated, often served on a bread roll, a bruger croquette, and poffertjes,
The mini pancakes?
tiny, fluffy mini pancakes, served warm with butter and powdered sugar. Dangerous how quickly they disappear. And of course, the cheese. Gouda, Edam, Maasdam are just the start. Visit a cheese shop for tastings. It's a real education.
And for something heartier, especially if it's cold?
Stampot. Mashed potatoes mixed with vegetables like kale or sauerkraut, often served with a smoked sausage, gersrukt, or Urken soup, a really thick pea soup, perfect for a winter's day, comfort food.
Sounds good. Okay, let's shift to the practical side. Where do you stay and what can you expect it to cost? This is important stuff.
Yeah, the Netherlands sits in the moderately expensive range for Western Europe, and Amsterdam is definitely the priciest for accommodation.
Your sources gave some useful ranges, both EUR and USD.
They did. For budget travelers, think hostel dorms between, say, 1550 EUR, maybe 3575 $, USD, if you want a bit more privacy on a budget.
A private room in a hostel. Or a basic hotel.
Yeah, maybe 55 115 EUR, so $180 USD roughly.
An Airbnb fits into that mid-range.
Seems like it. A private room on Airbnb could be a 50-80 EUR, while a whole apartment might run 150 EUR. Camping, if that's your thing, is the cheapest at 10-15 EUR.
Okay, and mid-range hotels.
They climb into the $180, $350 USD bracket maybe, and luxury. That starts north of $350 USD or easily exceeds 280 EUR and goes up significantly from there.
The key takeaway seems to be prices spike in spring and summer.
Absolutely. Tulip season and peak summer. Booking well in advance is crucial, especially for Amsterdam or during specific events like King's Day.
Good tip.
And remember, staying just a train stop or two outside the busy city centers can often offer significant savings while keeping you really well connected by public transport.
Speaking of which, how do you actually navigate this country? Transport.
This is where the Netherlands really shines. Their public transport system is truly world-class.
Efficient, punctual.
Incredibly efficient, punctual, and totally integrated. Trains, trams, metros, buses, mainly run by NS, the National Rail Company, and local operators. It connects virtually every town and city.
So you probably don't need a rental car.
Rarely. Unless you're planning to explore very remote, specific rural areas, it's largely unnecessary.
Trains are the backbone for getting between cities.
Absolutely. NS trains are fast, comfortable, frequent. Most major spots are less than 2 hours from Amsterdam. A typical intercity ticket might be 5 to 20 EUR.
Like Amsterdam to Rotterdam.
Around 11 EUR takes just 40-50 minutes. You can use a reusable OV chip card, that's the National Public Transport Smart Card you tap on and off with, or buy single tickets. Or look into multi-day passes if you plan lots of train travel.
And then there's cycling as transport, which is different from just leisure cycling.
Right, it's integrated. You rent bikes, maybe 10-15 EUR a day, sometimes cheaper like that 5 EUR rental in Hoogeville Park, and use those amazing dedicated paths.
Cheapest way to get around locally.
Definitely the cheapest and most authentic way to see the landscape up close. Just remember, Dutch cyclists are fast and confident. They own those paths. Pay attention.
Got it. Within the larger cities.
Great local systems, too.
Hmm?
Trams, metros, buses in Amsterdam, Rotterdam, The Hague. Very efficient.
Hmm.
Single fares are around 4 EUR, but day passes are usually better value at 9.5 UOUR if you're using transit a lot in one day.
And canal boats can be transport too.
In some cities, yeah, not just sightseeing. Charming transport options in places like Amsterdam or Utrecht.
And if you're connecting internationally, say from Paris or Brussels.
Perfectly positioned. High-speed trains like Thalys or Eurostar easily connect you to neighboring countries. Makes it a fantastic hub.
Any budget options.
Flixbus was mentioned as being very affordable between cities, sometimes super cheap like 3 EUR Amsterdam, Rotterdam. Ride-sharing like BlaBlaCar is another option too.
Okay, so pulling it all together on cost.
Yeah.
What does a daily budget look like, roughly?
Based on your sources excluding flights, it's moderately expensive. A truly budget traveler, hostel dorms, cooking most meals, street food, walking, cycling, public transport, free activities might aim for, say, 120 USD or around 65 EUR per day. but that's living lean.
For a mid-range trip, giving yourself more flexibility.
Staying in private rooms, maybe Airbnb or guest houses, mixing cooking with casual restaurants, using public transport, maybe renting a bike, visiting some paid attractions, you're probably looking at 130-280 USD range or around 160 EUR per day. That feels like a good balance.
And luxury, as expected, scales up quickly.
Yeah, sources put luxury starting at $300-600 plus USD or 280 plus EUR per day and going up from there. Key things that add up are accommodation, especially in Amsterdam, eating and drinking out a lot, and hitting lots of paid attractions.
So how do you save money? Any top tips?
Loads of great tips in the sources. Bring a reusable water bottle. Tap water is safe and delicious. Limit partying if budget is key alcohol. Coffee shops can be pricey.
That museum cardigan.
The museum card for 75 EUR is a massive saver if you love museums. Bike everywhere, often free or cheap daily rental. Look for free festivals, especially in summer. Couch surfing for free stays and local tips.
Cook some meals.
Definitely. Groceries are affordable, maybe 40-65 EUR a week. Embrace street food and markets farts, herring, stroopwafels are cheap and tasty. Picnic in parks or along canals.
Use those public transport passes.
Yep. Utilize those day passes. Focus on free activities, exploring neighborhoods, parks, just walking or cycling. And consider the shoulder seasons, spring or autumn, for potentially lower prices and fewer crowds.
Speaking of seasons, when is the best time to visit? Always tricky.
It really depends on your priorities. The weather is often mild but can be damp any time of year, honestly. Spring, mid-March to May, is often considered ideal because...
Tulips.
Tulips, exactly. It's cooler but warms up, less crowded than summer, though the weather is famously unpredictable. Late April and May are peak tulip time.
Summer is peak season, I assume? More expensive, more crowded?
Yes, June through August. Warmest weather, long daylight hours, lots of outdoor festivals and events. But yeah, highest prices and biggest crowds, particularly in Amsterdam.
And autumn and winter.
Autumn, September and October, brings beautiful fall colors, cooler temps, and crowds start to thin out. Great for city breaks and museums. October can be pretty wet, though.
And winter.
Winter, November to March, is cold, short days, often gray and damp, maybe some snow. Prices are lowest then, outside of Christmas, New Year. Cities do light up nicely for the holidays. Amsterdam's Light Festival, for example. Some attractions might have reduced hours, though.
So, summary. Spring, April, May, for flowers and pleasant weather. Summer for peak buzz. Autumn, sepakt, for fewer crowds and colors.
Got it. Now, about the Dutch themselves and their culture. What's important for a visitor to understand?
Well, they're known for being quite direct and pragmatic.
Not rude, just efficient.
Exactly. It's not rudeness. It's simply efficient, honest communication. They appreciate straightforwardness. Generally, they're very friendly and open people.
We keep coming back to cycling, but it's truly more than just transport, isn't it?
It's deeply cultural. You'll see everyone on bikes, all ages, all weather. Embrace it, but be aware of bike path rules. Their long history of tolerance and liberalism is also key. You see it in their progressive social policies, open-mindedness.
And then there's that untranslatable concept, Gezelligheid.
Ah, yes. Gezellig. It's a feeling, isn't it? Like cozy, convivial, pleasant atmosphere. A sense of warmth and togetherness.
Whether it's sharing drinks in a pub or a family dinner.
Exactly. It's a core part of their cultural value system. Very important. And communication is easy for visitors. English proficiency.
Extremely easy. Almost everyone speaks excellent English, especially in cities and among younger generations. You'll have no trouble navigating or asking for help.
Okay, finally, safety. What should people be mindful of?
The Netherlands is generally very safe. Low violent crime. Standard common sense applies, just like any popular tourist spot globally.
Where should you be most cautious? Pickpocketing.
Yeah, petty crime, specifically pickpocketing, can occur in very crowded areas. Think major transport hubs like Amsterdam Central Station, busy squares like Dam Square, maybe the red light district late at night, on crowded trams, major attractions.
So standard tourist awareness.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Keep valuables secure, be aware of your surroundings, especially when you might be distracted taking photos or something.
And cycling safety from a pedestrian perspective.
Crucial. Be extremely vigilant when walking in cities, especially Amsterdam. Trams, cars, and those thousands of cyclists share the streets. Look both ways, pay attention.
And don't walk in the bike lanes.
Absolutely never walk in a designated bike lane. Those cyclists move fast and expect it to be clear. Also, tap water is delicious and safe. Bring that reusable bottle. And canals are beautiful, but not for swimming, and be careful near the edges. Easy to slip.
Emergency number?
112. Standard across Europe for police, ambulance, fire.
Okay. So there you have it. This deep dive into your sources reveals a country that's really a testament to human resilience, shaped by water, propelled by bikes.
Rich in history and art, and full of vibrant, distinct experiences beyond just the obvious cliches.
It's a place that blends the historic with the cutting edge, the practical with that Gezellig feeling.
And hopefully, with the insights from this deep dive, understanding the costs, the incredible transport, the sheer diversity of experiences, those cultural nuances, you have the tools now to plan a trip that's truly yours.
Yeah, one that goes far beyond the standard tourist trail and is tailored to what you want to see and feel.
So, as you think about putting your own itinerary together, reflecting on everything we've discussed from your sources, what aspect of the Netherlands feels most compelling to you now?
Is it that incredible story of literally building a nation out of the sea? Or how something as simple as cycling became such a symbol of identity and daily life?
Or maybe it's that elusive feeling of Gezelligheid that you're really eager to experience firsthand. What part of this country's unique character resonates most and makes you want to explore further?